Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hasidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. 1 second. This share is sponsored by Adina Lapine in honor of Basuris Teves and only revealed good news. Thank you very much. Without which none of this could be possible. And all the hard work that she puts in general, brachas and all good, only revealed good. Okay, so let's continue in our journey of Hachana for Gimmel Tammuz. We're discussing Atar Tzava, and we're learning into Ches. And basically, what we're discussing, little summarization of what's going on, is like this. We have a puzzle Atar Tzava, that you should command the Jewish people, and should bring to you Shemen Zayis Zach, pure, crushed olive oil, Kasis Lamar, crushed Lamar to the luminary, Lalas Netamid to be brought up consistently. To add a few questions on this, I'm not going to get into all the details now, maybe we'll do it in another class. Now, basically, we're discussing in these questions first, so no space, we start to discuss that after the top doesn't mean you should command, because the question is, why is Moshe commanding? Really, it's Hashem commanding. So it's that you should connect. That Moshe is connecting the Yidden with their Ein Sof, with Hashem, and ultimately through that, we're actually taste of Il Moshe. We're adding into Moshe. And then we said that what is Moshe? Nice Gimmel. Moshe is really the Rai Mehemna. The Rai Mehemna is like is really 2 points. It's a faithful shepherd and a shepherd of faith that feeds sustain the Yidden with a munah, and it gives the Yidden the ability to have this munah. Now we all have a munah, but what we do is we bring out this munah, and we have, for example, of this that we bring down from the Medrash. It says Mordechai b'derei k'Moshe b'derei. Mordechai was like Moshe, and Mordechai, a Yehudi, he was the guy, and what he did was he managed to get people stand strong in regards to when the Gezerah came from Haman and Achashverosh. So then, and so that's the Mordechai. So then in Izdal we ask, 1 second, we say the Maimer that we're learning is based on the Frierdiker's Maimer. And what does it say in the Frierdiker's Maimer is based on what it says in the Megillah, the Kibbel, Yehudim, Misachil, Lasses. They took upon themselves, they received what they'd begun. And what does that mean? That in the times of Matan Torah, they just begun. Whereas by the Gezerah of Achashverosh and that whole story of Purim, that's when they kimu. They received, they internalized, they took. Now, Frierdiker asked the obvious question, how can you compare the situations? Why are we saying that in the highest state, when the Yidden were on the highest levels, by the time of Matan Torah, that wasn't real. That was just Kiblu. That was just Kiblu, what they received. Whereas by the Gezerah of Achashverosh in the time of Purim, where the Yidden were on a very low level, it was very tiffer gullus. It's very deep, very bad, very rough gullus, and they were not in a good place spiritually. Suddenly we say that's when it's all real. How's that going on? So what we answer is because what happened that brought out the Indian Mesiras Nefesh, that it reached the etzem of the neshama and brought Mesiras Nefesh. Then we go on to explain. I lost track of which Eisron. I think it's hey, $1,000. Then we're going to explain that really there's 2 levels of Mesiras Nefesh. In Eisei, there's 2 levels of Mesiras Nefesh mitzad mazlei chazi. That's a deeper level than seichel. There's a seichel, something you think, you learn, you appreciate, you understand, and then you do it because of that logic. And then there's a deeper level. You don't do it because it's logical. You do it because it's what you see. Like the story I gave of the guy seeing his friend with the snake. When that happened, and he sees the whole miracle story with what happened to him, he believes. Why? Because mazlei chazi. We all have this mazlei chazi. But this is just an example of whether we could sort of wrap our minds around it. He saw it was very clear. So you have him. But then we have a deeper level of us, a deeper level in the neshama. The neshama is essentially one with Hashem. And so that's different levels. So we're ultimately saying in Ayz Vav, so saying that the Rebbeim bring this to the forefront, and that's what the emunah they're bringing is that deepest level, not mazlei chazi, which is a very deep level, but a level even that we're one with the Eibishter, and we see this connection and this This once we have it. This is who we are, and therefore, when you reveal that level, you can't go against. It's against our nature, and so therefore, and that's what the Rebbeim are bringing out. But what we're seeing from the Maimer, the Fiduker, what we're seeing is it's through the time of Golus that's expressing this, and ultimately what we're saying is that really Golus is bringing out more. And Zayin, we're saying that brings an Ilui in Mordechai versus Moshe, and also in the Fiduker, because by Moshe, even though him part of this union of Das, Nolikus, there should be Pnimius, this Amun, there should be Pnimius. But his whole generation was a generation of knowledge, but they didn't have to express this essential connection, oneness with the Eibishter, that really only gets expressed through Mesiras Nefesh. Whereas in the times of Mordechai, it did. And even more, we're saying that we said in Zayin, that Mordechai in his generation was, why Dafka Mordechai is because he was the right Mehemna, the Gali of his generation. Whereas, let's say in the times of Purim, in times of Hanukkah, it wasn't that way because not everyone had Mesiras Nefesh. It was Matasyahu and his sons mainly, and I'm sure a few others, but it wasn't everyone. Mordechai's situation with Purim, they ruled over all the Yidden, and all the Yidden came together with the help of Mordechai, and not just they didn't go to say I'm gonna deny my Yiddishkeit. Not just did they keep Torah Mesiras Nefesh, but they even gathered public to do this, and this is what the Rayim Hemna this is what the Galus achieved with this act of Rayim Hemna. And this is what we're going to discuss today, how to put all these pieces together. But on one hand, we're saying in the pasuk that the Moshe connects, and then we say Viko Elecha, and they should bring to Moshe, which is adding to Moshe and Eloi, like we said in his base. And then we said Kas Lamar, and it's still being crushed. But what we're adding, what we're discussing in the Maimon, is also this aspect that the Moshe Rabbeinu brings out this, the Rayim Hemna brings out this Emunah that should be Pnimius. So how does this all fit in? Let's see. Eis Ches. Very short Eis. Page 374 in the safe I'm using here, wherever you're holding Eis Ches. Okay. According to what we explained before, we can understand the order of the ideas of the Maimon by the Fiduker. There, pasuk after the tzav, an explanation of the pasuk of after the tzav. First, he explains what does it mean after the tzav that you should command, you should connect the Jewish people. And Moshe is connecting Yidden with Hashem. And through how does he do it? It's through him feeding, sustaining our munah. That's what we're explaining. Then afterwards, we explain that every Moshe, not just Moshe himself, but the Moshe of every generation does this. The shtus of the Moshe, the extension of Moshe, the chazim is the emunah of Yisrael, strengthening the emunah of the Yid. Mordechai, Moshe is like Mordechai, for example. That's what we brought down. He helped us stand strong with Torah mitzvahs. And the continuation of the mind of the Fiduker says, what does it mean to be crushed to the luminary? Where in the pasuk of after the Tzav, it's talking about Moshe himself. That the Kizesh Moshe Megali b'chinas Moshe Yisrael, because Moshe, through him revealing the Mar, the luminary within the Yid, the Etzem and Neshama, it says in the brackets, it's mainly being brought out through the offshoot, the Moshe of every generation. This Pashtus delay, the Rayim Mehemna of every generation. It's the extension of Moshe times of Galus. What do we mean Galus? Kassus. Like from the pasuk Kassus. She'erim b'Yisrael koyach. That we arouse in the Yid, that they arouse in the Yid the koyach, the ability to have Mesiras Nefesh. That through this Mesiras Nefesh, who ikar gili etzem neshama, the Mar, that's the truest revelation of the Mar, truest revelation of that essence of the etzem neshama, the essence of neshama. And therefore, being this is the case. So just to again. we have there's three sort of stages Friedrich Rebbe is bringing. One is that after the tzava, the Moshe of every generation, the Rai Mehemna connects the Yidden with their own safe. And then we explain, like example, Mordechai. Then we explain that it's Dafka, that they reveal that through being crushed, the Etzem Neshama is revealed. And then we also explain that it's with the Moshe, really with the Moshe first, and then the being crushed. Now we have to understand this a little bit. The we just explained, the Kaslamar, Shaykh after the Tav is Nisol. So you have the Kaslamar, which is, so to speak, the third thing we said. Really, that Kaslamar is connected with the after the Tav, Nisol. The Moshe, especially the Leishach Alder, Makashim, Machabim, Es Yisol Im Erin Seif. That the Moshe of every generation is connecting the Yidden with Erin Seif. About Kasas Nema, but in the pasuk it says Kasas Lamar, Behemshech Levikra Elecha, Shem and Zayis. The Kasas Lamar is connected with the Kasas Lamar is connected to Vikra Elecha. The being crashed is connected to bringing to Moshe. In Vikra Elecha, the idea of taking to you, meaning she stole Mevim Shem and Moshe, we bring oil to Moshe. Who she stole Mesif over Moshe. That we're adding to Moshe, which you haven't really discussed. Like in the beginning of the Maimonides base, we said that through us connecting, through Moshe helping us connect, after the Tava, you should connect us. In terms of Ili Moshe, we gave an example of Sheish Moshe Elef Ragli, Ha'ama Shanech B'Kiboy, like we had in last week's Pasha. We are the 16,000 feet that Moshe is among, where the feet take the head by itself can't go. And so we're trying to understand all these connections. We have that idea coming up in the past. So we also have the idea as to being crashed on Golus, reaching the Mar, and how all these things come together. Let's see. I guess just about, maybe we should stop here. Start a test tomorrow instead of getting into I think we'll do it that way. So just to end off explaining the Vart a little bit, the point of what we're learning, and this is sort of, and just to give us a heads up what's going to happen next. So essentially what we're learning is we've been discussing very much, and I hope we're holding cup. We'll keep on. We didn't lose what's happening, because essentially what we're discussing is this understanding that's very important. And this mime, remember, like I talked about in the beginning, this mime was given out, the last mime the Rebbe gave up with his holy hand to all the Chassidim. And we want us to learn it, because this is sort of the Rebbe's, in a certain sense, the Rebbe's message for us. We have to learn, we have to take to heart. So where it starts to get into it, it's like a lot of people tell me, a friend of mine told me, he's like, I love the end of the mime. But in order to appreciate the end of the Maimon, we have to go through the process of the whole Maimon. And essentially what we're learning here is understanding the relationship. What is Moshe doing? And how is that affecting us? And ultimately the Rebbe is telling us sort of who he is and what's his job and how's it going to work. And then we're going to end up, we're going to tie it all back in, and how does it apply to us now in Dar Shvi? You don't have this type of goals. Essentially what we're talking about is being crushed. And being crushed in time of goals is causing, like we have by Mordechai. And his generation was crashed, and we're talking about, also we're going to talk about the Friedrich Rebbe, that the Chassidim had all this issues and they were crushed. Like I said before, that Hillel Zaltzman, he was, when he came out of Russia and out of all the communist Russia and all they dealt with, and he had the mission they had to have to do Torah mitzvahs and challenges. When he came, he missed it. Ultimately, and this is sort of the thing we've got to appreciate, we're jumping in early, but ultimately we're going to appreciate that the goals that we find ourselves in today is a very different type of goals, and essentially it's a much harder goals. It's like a goals, it's like the Sheikh said, once I heard, he goes, when someone comes and argues with me, there's someone to talk to. When someone doesn't care, apathetic, then it's very hard to connect. And this is sort of the gospel we live in. It's an apathy in a certain sense. That we don't have the challenges. No one's coming and telling you you're a Yid. And I don't like you. I'm going to fight you on it. I'm telling you, you're not allowed to do Torah mitzvahs. And so when that happens, then we all, the Etzem Neshama is revealed, and that's what happened by Mordechai, and that's what happens to our generations. But and not even to everyone, unfortunately. But that sort of automatic, especially us, we learn a little bit of Chassidus, and we have a Rebbe, and we're connected, so it automatically brings that out. Whereas in America, you don't have that push so much. It's more relaxed, whatever you don't care. And therefore, it's very easy to slip down the slippery slope. But ultimately, we all have this, and we all have this issue, and we want to be connected, and we don't lose that connection. So what happens is when a slippery slope goes down, it doesn't go away. We don't have that one for the connection. It just expresses itself in a very different way. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it goes in the wrong path, and we're missing the point. It really, our cost is that we're in Galus. To be further elaborated on in the next few days. Have a great day, everybody.